Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day, and I'm so excited that you decided to come and hang out with me for a brief moment while I build for you. As you can see by the title of the video, it will be a speed build of converting one full San Myshuno apartment into three small apartments, and they all have their own separate styles. I hope you enjoy this video, and with that, let's get into it. I cannot wait to show you. Okay, so here we are in 19 Culpeper House. Now, as you can see, I divvied up the entire apartment, which is quite large, into three separate apartments. And I don't really usually know what to do with apartments because there's so much space. And I feel like you can have probably like 14 living rooms, 13 bathrooms, and like it's unnecessary space. So I figured now I could actually do a cute kind of take on splitting all of the rooms into three like separate apartments on one full apartment in San Myshuno. So this is really my take on it. This is far more cluttered than I usually do any of my builds on, and I know that that is very unlike me, but I figured there's small space. I didn't want to be just basic and just put in like the necessities, a bed, make sure that they have a kitchen and all of that good stuff. So I figure now would be the best time to put a lot of clutter into this. So that's what I did. With this one, I have gotten themes. Like this is one time where I had like, this is what I think this person is. So for this first apartment, I figured they were big into books. They didn't really care about, most of the clothes that they had or anything like that. So I thought this was a book lover kind of apartment. It's very cluttered. There's not much storage space outside of what I'm doing right now, and the kitchen space. And even if there are spaces, you can see like any kind of surface, there are books. I end up putting a small TV here and then a bookcase right next to it. Even that small stool, there's books on that. There's books all around this small space. But I wanted each of the apartments to have, like their own kind of feel. So for this one, it's more browns and it's a lot darker. It's very green, but I did go with a book lover kind of, feel for this one. And so for this, I do have a lot of decorations, but most of them are books. Outside of that, I do end up using a single bed for this one, which is very different than the other two apartments. I end up putting two double beds, and this one is the only one that has a single bed as a bunk bed, and underneath it, there's a couch. I kind of liked the idea of having a couch up under it and the whole space being, you know, within each other. But for this apartment and probably like the entire apartment, they're all very small. So I figured with this, it's very easy to have, a lot of spaces very clumped together. So this is a cool concept that I came up with. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the originator, so don't quote me on it. But for this one, I did like the use of having a bunk bed and then a couch underneath it. And everything about this apartment is very, very small. This is the smallest of them. And I think this one has a very unique take on the amount of space that I use. Now, for this, I do have a lot of clutter in the kitchen. Like, it's just cluttered up, and I love it. Well, compared for me, like a lot of people clutter a lot more than I do. But for this one, I thought it was nice, and I'm very happy with it. I would love if I got the opportunity to do it again. I would love to add just a little bit more light, but with the reshade, I'm assuming that's really why, it's a very darker color scheme outside of the colors that I chose, which were brown and green. So this is a lot of fun. Okay, for this one was a lot of fun as well. The kitchen is a lot smaller than the other two kitchens. I figured with all of these, they all have, their strengths and weaknesses. So for this one, I think this one is an overall design change, which is very different. So the advantage with this one is that it has a full kind of dining area. So I'm assuming that they love entertaining. They're very clean, very, I wouldn't say even minimal, but very clean. They like more modern things with this. I figure that they're more into fashion, they're more into that kind of thing and love socializing, hosting events, and things like that. So I made sure that the living room was much more stylish and much more, modern than the other two builds. That was my take on this apartment. But for the bedroom that I have, you can see it's farther in the back. And these two apartments, the one right next to it, does have a terrace. And I absolutely loved the idea of having that. And I felt like both of them really utilized them a lot better. I couldn't even imagine giving a terrace to the book lover's apartment, but this one and the other one, once you end up seeing the entire build of both of them, really stood out and I loved it. But the bedroom, back to what I was saying, I love going on these tangents. So, back to what I was saying about the bedroom, I do end up having a kind of unit installed over the bed. So, they do love clothes, but seeing that I use most of the space for this apartment for the living room and, things for the guests, like the living room, dining room, I could say the kitchen, but that's very small. I didn't see much storage space, so I ended up having to put their storage space on top of the bed. And I love this. And then I add these nice units to the side of them because it looked kind of lacking. So I did end up changing it and adding some things on the side, so it's a lot more storage space. I add a bookcase and then I use the basket. I think it came with Cottage Living and I love it. If it didn't come with Cottage Living, mind me, please. But I love that. It's kind of like the one that came with Eco Lifestyle. So I love that small basket, but I did end up changing the lighting. Oh, that's the basket. And I didn't know if I wanted to make it small, but I did want all of the builds in their own kind of way to be cluttered. So I figured that was a nice way to have it cluttered without being too overpowering. And like I said, I like that the fact with this one, I had the storyline of them being very social. So I figured they could put a lot of pictures over there. This is just another way of adding lighting right there. And I think this is where I put in those add-ins. Oh, I absolutely love this. So I do add in a lot of things. With this, I wanted to add a little bit more storage in the bathroom. Now, I don't know if I completely am in love with this one, but I do love the fact that I did add a little bit more things to put on top of it. Now, a person could not reach that. I know I couldn't, but it adds a little bit more dimension to it. Now, with the other two, there was a clear kind of, set in stone backstory to it, but for this one there's no backstory. I just figured the other two were very cohesive within their own kind of space. Like book lovers, we had, browns, we had small oranges, but it was really browns and greens. And then in the other build it was neutrals, whites, pinks, very cream colors. But for this one I couldn't decide, and I figured this one should be more of a kind of kooky kind of apartment. So it's lots of oranges, um blues. I use greens. I end up using a wallpaper that I love. I never truly get the chance of using it outside of doing like color challenges or anything. So I figured since they wanted to throw all of, the color scheme of the rainbow into this apartment, that using that kind of wallpaper, the leaf ones, that this would be a great opportunity to do it. Now, with that, knowing that I just didn't really have a strong sense of color for this, I did actually have a hard time with doing a lot of the decorations and what kind of color scheme to go with for the entire build. Outside of knowing that they wanted to throw all colors in, it was kind of hard to pick a decoration because when you're sitting there and you're like, oh, they love everything, that makes it a lot harder. So, and I remembered honestly that they had a needs TLC apartment. So I figured let's add a little bit of character to all of them, although they all have their different kind of takes on what their apartment should be, I figured they should all have a what is it? All of the cracks and things in the wall. So I do add some of those, utilizing some of the vampire game pack decorations that we could put on the walls. And then I loved the clutter of everything here. And I'm so happy at the way all of this turned out. Once again, I did add a lot of clutter. I changed out into this mirror for that other room and I loved it. It came with Jungle Adventure, I'm assuming, and I don't even use that many pack items from Jungle Adventure outside of probably going on like a Jungle Adventure literally. But I never really use the packs and I love that mirror. I kind of think that it's standout piece for that pack. I feel like every pack really does have a standout piece, but for Jungle Adventure, it's definitely that mirror, and it comes with so many colors. I'd love it if it came in like more polished colors. It kind of looks like they're all worn down, and it does go with the Jungle Adventure theme, but I would just love, a lighter kind of colors, and like more colors that just don't have that beat down, kind of run down kind of feel to it. And I know that's kind of like a lot to ask because when people are making things for the pack, you kind of want it to go with a theme. So having items that aren't run down or don't look like they're like kind of archaic is not really a part of the game's scope, but I would love to see it. And I think that goes with like a lot of the things for The Sims. Like some of the things don't go with any of the packs. Like for generations, like the daycare thing, I don't even know what you would put that in, but like that just speaks to not going with the scope but still wanting it. And I feel like a lot of the Sims community, like a lot of people are talking about cars and stuff like that. Like I don't know what you could add that to for it to go smoothly with the Sims 4 kind of franchise, but it would be nice to have. And so I'm very happy about that. I know I just went on another rant, but I'm happy about this. Is probably one of my favorite bedrooms. I don't know. This might be my favorite apartment of the three because I feel like the more neutral kind of social person in that last apartment, they kind of have a vibe that I have been building with a lot lately. So having this, it kind of takes away all of the limits and bounds that I've given myself. And I'm very happy about that. And I'm pretty sure I'll probably build something similar to this again. Not this per se, but the idea of having, no true limits or having a, stop on what I'd like to put in there. And so, I don't know. You can definitely be looking out for that. But this is probably one of my favorite builds. I hope you all have a great time playing in it. If you do love this, this will be in the gallery under my ID, LYNCIAA, and it will also be in the description. I'm so happy about this. I can't get over the wallpaper. This apartment is just so busy and I love it. Now, I know I talked about the other two people, so for this one, I just know that they're very colorful people. I feel like everything that they got for this apartment, they've probably gotten at one of the flea markets. And I love it because every time I go to a flea market in the game, they're all very kooky. Like all the items don't match at all. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be a video of mine of going to the flea markets and trying to build a house from things we can get there. And I don't think I'm going to put any kind of restrictions on it, like for money or anything, because that really does hinder you. It's hard enough trying to earn money in The Sims, but so I'm not going to do that. But I do want to try to see if I could build or not even build a house because you can't do that, but decorate a house using items from the flea markets in San Myshuno. And there's like, now that I'm thinking about it, there's so much to do in The Sims, but after a while, I just feel like you've done it all when that's why I think that people who make challenges and stuff like that for The Sims really do hold the sim together, like hold the Sims together. They do, because after a while, you really do feel like you don't have much more to do in The Sims, like you've done it all. And having new challenges gives you a way of exploring more aspects of the gameplay with The Sims 4. And I think that's why I'm so excited that we are getting scenarios in the game. Granted, we've been doing them for years, but making it official could add something new to the game, so I'm excited about it. And we are nearing the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you want to download this, it will be on the gallery. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.